I knew nothing about four-wheel driving at that stage. I didn't know a clue. I just got bogged immediately. Like, what am I doing wrong? Just not letting my tyres down, all of that. Had none of the gear. I didn't think that I was capable of getting out to the middle of nowhere and spending all this time under the stars by myself, hundreds of kilometres away from people. But here I am. I found that I really liked poring over maps, whether that be like old archival maps of ghost towns or just Google Maps, and just having a look around and pinpointing the little spots where I thought looked interesting. The road was burning on the sides, like I was driving through walls of flame.
So if we were to name one WA town that you think most people would drive straight past but shouldn't, what comes to mind?
I'd probably say...
Welcome to RSC's Horizons podcast. I'm Myke Bartlett. In this episode, we're talking hidden WA towns, long drives, remote roads, and the places most people fly past without stopping. We'll find out what Aaron has discovered, which towns are worth the detour, and what life on the road is really like when you're doing it alone. So Aaron, welcome to RSC Horizons.
Nice to be here, Mike. Thank you.
For anyone who hasn't encountered lands unseen yet, what's it all about?
Well, it's quite a long story actually, but I'll give you the cliff notes. Essentially, it's my mission to see what's out there, and it's more so maybe a journey of self-discovery, sort of finding what I'm capable of while exploring the landscape and giving context to everything as well. And I think you sort of find little bits and pieces of yourself out there in these places and these people, and that makes you a more rich sort of human being, adds a layer of depth, I guess.
All right, so you're travelling around WA, finding out all these little small towns that people often miss out on. But you said there it's a journey of self-discovery as well.
Well, it started as that.
It started as that.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
So I guess... Long story short, I got back from Europe in about 2017, and I'd taken a small little camera with a kit lens over there just to, I guess, document my journey, show my family, my friends, put it on Facebook, do the old travel thing, just the flex. And I got back and I was pretty bummed out about being back because I love traveling so much. I loved that you could get out of your comfort zone and that version of you falls away that's back home. So all of those... I guess what you thought was yourself was actually the idea of you, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
what
everyone
everyone expects of you and your job and everything like that. That's how you see yourself. But once you get out of that and get to somewhere completely different, you start to realize that that's fallen away, but you haven't realized it. So I started to discover that and got back, and I was pretty bummed out because I didn't have that anymore, and I was back in that environment where the old me sort of lived. So after about a week, I was like, well, I've still got the camera, and I've just got a drone because that was when they first came out, and I was seeing all these incredible videos and photos. I was like, I'll have a crack at that. And I thought, why don't I just explore my own backyard? Because like anyone growing up in a place, they always go as far away as possible to see the world. And I just think about exploring where they grew up. So I started doing that. And got myself a four-wheel drive, and it was like the original one was nothing as good as what I have now, the Troopy. It was basically a jacked up soccer mum's car. Like you'd go four-wheel driving and then pick up the kids from school. So I sort of set out then, and I knew nothing about four-wheel driving at that stage. I didn't know a clue. Like I just got bogged immediately. Like, what am I doing wrong? Just not letting my tyres down, all of that. Had none of the gear.
Okay.
And
so
no idea.
We wouldn't recommend this approach to road tripping.
No. I mean,
I'm watching this podcast.
It's good to go somewhere a bit more controlled, a bit closer to somewhere, maybe a little beach where you can drive, where there's a lot of folks around. But don't go out into the middle of nowhere and expect to be real good at four-wheel driving, especially if you don't know the little tips and tricks and letting your tyres down, having recovery equipment, max tracks, knowing how to get yourself out because you're going to be digging for a long time. Trust me, that's true.
So you set off in your soccer mum?
Yes,
SUV.
yeah, in the soccer mum car.
And what was the first hard lesson you learned?
Well, that it's not fun to dig yourself out of a beach for 7 hours.
Right.
It's probably one of
7
them.
hours?
Well, it's probably, I'm exaggerating, probably 2.
No, exaggerate, that's fine.
It feels like 7 when you're out there and it's summer and you're sweating and you're not having a good time. But I suppose the big lesson from that was like, all right, I need to get a bit more prepared. I need to not go into it with so much bravado and ego and just think I'm going to do what the big wigs in the four-wheel drive community do straight away. I think a lot of folks do that. Like I've been to a few beaches where I'll like prepare, I'll let the tyres down, I'll get out there. Then I see like a Toyota Camry on the beach with its tyres lit up and it's just going crazy. I'm like, that's whatever. Amazing that they got it on the beach, but it's a
Will
recipe.
they get it off the beach? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, so it was a journey of self-discovery. When did you hit on this idea of seeing every small town that's out there?
Well, I started doing a bit of research. I found that I really liked poring over maps, whether that be like old archival maps of ghost towns or just Google Maps, and just having a look around and pinpointing the little spots where I thought looked interesting, that they would look interesting from a drone, because at this time I was just doing primarily photography. I loved capturing the place and trying to get that context into one photo.
Okay.
Like, if it's a beautiful sunrise, like having the 2/3 of the sunrise and having that beautiful landscape, and really because I'm not trained as a photographer, I'm an electrician by trade. So I sort of just rolled into this not knowing what I was doing, but it's all about getting out there, trying things and developing your own unique style. So that's sort of what I started doing. That was the first challenge for me as a photographer, was to find what works, to find what looks good to me and what people like seeing as well.
Okay. So you enjoyed looking at maps. You wanted to get out there and shoot some photos.
Yep.
How do we move on then to the how many small towns are there in WA?
I believe, and don't quote me on this, it's about 656 small towns and ghost towns.
Okay.
Fact check me if you want. Don't come at me in the comments, but I think it is about 600.
All right, it's in the 600s.
Yes, yeah.
And how long did you imagine it might take you to tick those off?
Me being a terrible planner and always seeing the bright side, I thought, that'll be about a year. No worries.
Right.
No. I've probably only seen like a third of them, if
Okay.
that.
In how many years?
Since, when I got back from Europe, probably 6 years now.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're third of the way through.
Yeah, and I did take a bit of time to sort of do a big lap, because I was working FIFO. I was doing mining before I started all of this, before I quit. And I was doing week on, week off. So I thought, you know what? Perfect opportunity. Flights were a bit cheaper back then. You could do the whole credit card thing, and it worked out really well. So I would fly. I started driving, took a few weeks off, drove across the Great Australian Bight, went through Norseman and went east. And I thought, I'll just do a week at a time. Park my car up wherever at like airport parking, go back to work, and then rinse, repeat. And I'd say I got as far as north of Brisbane before COVID hit. So I had to drive all the way back.
Right, okay.
Yeah,
so that's put a bit of a hole in your schedule.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it certainly, especially coming back to being locked up and all of that, I was like, well, this is, yeah. But that's how the Western Australia thing started. I saw it as a great opportunity with regional lockdowns to actually get out there. Like, if we weren't locked down, I could get out there. No one was doing it. So all the tracks were fresh. Like, there was nothing in my way. And that was really when the love for WA really kicked off.
There was that great time, wasn't there? I mean, it's weird to talk about COVID as being a great time.
Yeah.
But when we were kind of trapped in our little bubble,
100%.
people suddenly really enjoyed being here.
Yeah.
And what we have to offer here.
I look back at it with a bit of fondness, because it was that time when I had so much, we were forced to slow down. So all those things you're running away from, they catch up to you and you got to deal with them, and you start to have these like little self-realizations and ideas about your future, and you really have time to think about it when you are in the midst of a lockdown, because you're by yourself, you're doing your own thing. And that's when I realized that what I wanted to do was get out there and explore more fully in like a deeper context and actually show people what's out there, because it was, for me, that was a great time to get out and see those places while no one was around, because that sometimes puts you off. Like for me, I don't like when things are super busy or I'm trying to forward drive around folks. Like, that's not my jam.
Sure.
Like school holidays, nightmare. Free range kids everywhere. Not me, right? I'm not for it.
Yep.
But during COVID, you could get out there, you could do your own thing, explore these places, and from there, that's like I started to get addicted to that feeling of exploring with no one around. And that's where the WA thing sort of kicked off.
All right. And if you're getting addicted to exploring, the idea of setting yourself a big quest.
Yeah, 100%. Like, you've got to have benchmarks and metrics for success and all this stuff. And like coming from a mining corporate background, having all these sort of KPIs and whatnot, not to bore everyone at home, but having those benchmarks for success, that sort of keeps you ticking along.
It's a pretty big quest to start off with.
It's ridiculous.
Isn't it?
It's absolutely absurd. Like, what kind of a man thinks that thing up? But
yeah,
it was. And like, honestly, I think this year, that's when I'm going to start tracking it fully. Like, I'm going to really, the aim would be to go to every small town, every ghost town, every town, and do a video on it.
Yep.
Carousel on Instagram, show people what's there, because I think a lot of the time people are afraid to get out to the unknown because there's not a lot of signposts out there. There's not a lot of people who have been before you. That's the beauty of it. You sort of feel that adventure. But when you truly get out to these little hidden gems and places off the beaten path, you feel a bit of accomplishment getting out there.
I can imagine. How did you, I think you touched on this a little, but how did you prepare for this big adventure? And I guess we're thinking mentally as much as practically. I mean, how did you prepare yourself to set off on this quest to see everything?
I guess mentally, I've never been accused of being a smart man. So I think I just launched myself into the whole endeavour gung-ho, you know.
So no planning. I'm just going to get in the car and go.
Well, somewhat. I always said, I've always got the idea that the destination should be carved in stone, but the course should be drawn in pencil. So you can sort of go, okay, that's where I want to end up, but it's like a choose your own adventure if everyone's that old to remember those. But essentially you can go to this town, to that town, and detour through all these amazing things. And that's probably the level of preparation that I set myself. This is where I want to end up in this time frame, but the rest is uncovered thus far. Yeah.
Now, you started off in your soccer mum SUV. I drive something very similar myself. Why did you move on to the...
Didn't mean to insult you there.
No, I've...
Good start, straight away.
Take it on the chin. Why did you move on to a troopy?
I think at that stage...
So do you want to explain what a troopy is? Because I will admit, I had to Google this. It's not a term that I've used in everyday
It's very much a four-wheel drive slang that most people wouldn't be up on, but it's a Land Cruiser troop carrier. So it's one of those, it's a two-door, but it's very, very long, essentially. You've got the two back windows on each side, and essentially they call it the troop carrier because it carried troops. They had the bench seats in the back originally, and you could fit a whole party in there, you know. So I thought, you know what? I was looking for a car that would, the soccer mum car was great, had the rooftop tent, but I had the ladder on the outside. Logistically, for the travels that I wanted to do, there wasn't enough space. And the equipment wasn't up to scratch, needed better inverters, all of that sort of thing to run everything that I wanted, like charging cameras and whatnot. So I thought, well, I need the space. And being an electrician by background, I just need a shell and I can deck it out myself and do all the cabinetry and learn all of that, which was a tough thing to learn. I rebuilt that car twice now.
Okay.
Yep, because you learn the mistakes and then you realise, hey, I'm out here, this is horrible.
Yeah.
But I thought I need the space, so I built it out. I got the roof chopped off. They put an internal rooftop tent so I can push it up. It's a studio inside. I've got a desk.
You've got a built-in studio.
Built-in studio. Yeah, I've got a desk. I've got a desktop. I've got the monitor. I've got everything in there that I need to be comfortable in there to edit all my photos. It's just it's like a tiny, tiny apartment.
Right.
Pretty much. So that was the reasoning for that.
Right. I thought you were out there doing it tough on the road, but you've...
Oh, this is glamping.
Right.
People are just going to be like, this guy's an imposter right now. But it just, I think doing it full time, that's my house, basically. And when it comes to dating, women love that. And when you live in your car, let me tell you that. But so that's my house. So I thought I've got to put all this effort into it and have all the lighting and just make it easier to get around and just preparation as well. I needed all the equipment for recovery, the max tracks, all of that. A lot of the stuff I rarely use, but it's better to be looking at it than looking for it, as they say, when you're out there bogged.
Of course.
To have everything you need.
Okay, better to over-prepare than
100%.
under-prepare.
Yeah.
When you drive into town and the other four-wheel drivers catch a glimpse of your troopy, what's their reaction?
I'd like to think they love it. Obviously they worship.
Pure envy.
Oh, 100%.
Right,
yeah.
okay.
No, I don't know. I don't... there's always the troopies that drive past. We've got a little club going where we wave to each other.
Right?
Yeah,
it's just the one finger wave? Or
it's just the old, nice car sort of thing. Yeah, so we got that little troopy club going. So that's probably the most, I thought when I originally did it, I was like, the ladies are going to love this, right? This is going to be a boon for my dating life.
Yeah.
40-year-old males love it.
Right.
So if I was into that segment...
You're appealing to a new demographic.
100%, just the wrong one.
Right.
But it is what it is. Yeah.
I'm vaguely curious about this. How do you fit in the amount of travel that you're doing now? You're essentially traveling, more or less full-time?
I'm full-time now, yeah.
So how do you fit a life in around that?
It pretty much is my life, basically. It's what I love doing. So I've just launched into doing that full time. And like people often ask, does it get lonely out there? And yes, when I'm in the middle of nowhere, like you'd love to share it with someone. It's hard to be in such a beautiful place and not experience it with the context of someone there with you to discuss it and enjoy it. But when I'm out in these places, I meet a lot of cool people, a lot of really interesting folks. And that, it's not lonely at all when that's the case. Like you just seem to meet the right people when you're out doing what you love. It's like they're just sort of served up on a platter, and it's great.
And there's probably that thing that you touched on at the start, which is when you're traveling, you're free of those kind of limitations that you feel about yourself, who you are and how you should behave. When you're out there, it is liberating. You are more likely to engage with strangers.
100%, yeah, and especially if you meet fellow travelers. Like everyone's the best version of themselves when they're traveling. So you meet someone else who's traveling, and you're just authentic. Like you just get along. You don't have to impress anyone. You're just doing your thing, and I love that about that. And especially in the small towns, like the folks are so nice. Like the local communities, you meet so many passionate locals who are so just keen to see their town put on the map. It's like Donnybrook, but when I was growing up, that place was near on a ghost town. Like
Were you from Donnybrook?
I'm from Donnybrook, down in the southwest there. Big shout out to Donnybrook.
Well, we've done Donnybrook on our Spotlight series, Small Town Spotlight.
Well, you're probably the reason why it's hard to get a parking spot on a Saturday.
That's right, we've caused traffic chaos.
100%.
Right.
But I mean, that whole town, that was the success of Donnybrook I attribute to a passionate local. Like the reason that kids park is there is because a local farmer donated something like $1 million of his own money.
Is that right?
With the proviso to put in the kids park.
It's an amazing playground.
It's great. And the Shire, I believe, matched it, and then they put that in, and it was, I think it still is, the biggest free entry kids park in the Southern Hemisphere.
I believe it is. I believe we said that in our small town
there you
spotlight.
Go. Yeah, look, we've done our research. Huh?
And there can't be many parents who've driven past that without 100%. Being made to stop.
Yeah, and since that happened, Donnybrook's gone from a veritable ghost town to one of the busiest small towns, I'd say, in the southwest.
Right.
It's fantastic, and from that we've got amazing coffee shops now. We've got probably the best bakery in WA. I don't want to sound...
I was going to talk to you about bakeries later, but we're starting with Donnybrook.
Donnybrooke's the one. You get the meat pie from there, Big Apple Bakery. Fantastic.
Okay. Yeah.
So hopefully they sponsor me after this, and then I can just balloon out. That'd be fantastic.
I think you're right. And there's something that has come up when we've done the small town spotlights is that people who live in those towns are often there for a reason, and that reason is that they love it and they love to share it. You've talked about sharing a couple of times. Obviously, the adventure is great, and part of the adventure is discovering new places. But is Lands Unseen a chance for you to share it with other people? Is that sharing important to you?
Yeah. I love to show off these small towns with all these passionate locals that have put so much work into doing what they love and showing off their town. I love to share that with others, and that's one of the things moving forward that I'd like to do is more so show the context of the place rather than just the static photos, just the static video, because in this landscape of media at the moment, and especially social media, people want to be either entertained, or they want to laugh, or they want to learn something, or be inspired. And if you don't do any of those things, like people don't really, I guess, care for just the static stuff anymore. So I want to move more into that and show off these places, and maybe give these little towns a little bit of tourism spotlight as well, if I can, because they don't often have the budget for that. So it's sometimes hard for them to get the word out.
Okay. Do you enjoy the interaction between your audience and yourself, the people that you're sharing these towns with?
100%. Yeah. I've never really had bad experiences with chatting to folks in the old DMs and stuff. And there's quite an amazing community of, especially like there's a big overlap. Like I do the 4-wheel drive stuff. So the 4-wheel drive community is fantastic. Photography community, I've made heaps of mates through that. Heaps of good friends through that, especially like over East. And you sort of meet these people on the internet and then get to know them, and then they just become great friends. Yep. So my poor mum I'm meeting all these people on the internet and meeting up with them. She's probably having a heart attack, but but it's just...
You're probably old enough now.
Yeah, I'm fine, I mean, mentally, but it's just a fantastic thing, especially in this day and age where social media can oftentimes, like we're so connected now, but we're also so disconnected in our social lives. We're behind the screens and we're just living vicariously through other people. But there's also the good opportunity to meet people and form that community as well. So I love that aspect.
Oh, that's good. Well, I was going to ask you, being out on the road, and you've touched on this a bit. I mean, the isolation must get to you. These are long solo trips. I mean, is the contact you're getting online, the contact you're getting in small towns enough? I mean, how else do you deal with your own company for such a long period of time?
Talk to myself more than is probably socially acceptable. There's probably a diagnosis somewhere there, but you start to just, mutter to yourself and just exclaim things out loud. Your internal monologue becomes external, all of that. But sometimes, I just love I just love how quiet it is out there, because I think these days there was a quote, I think we consume more media in one day than someone in the 1800s consumed in 1 year.
I can believe it.
So there's so much noise in our heads that it's just amazing to get out there and just let it all go.
Yeah.
And I guess it doesn't so much get to me, but that's when you start to realize all the things that the noise has been drowning out. And you can actually come to terms with stuff. You can think about things without that static and everything.
Well, I suspect that's part of the reason we fill our lives with noise, is to avoid thinking
100%,
about
100%. Yeah, if you're an avoidant, this is the lifestyle for you. This is the time and place to be. Because you can just get on anything and get that dopamine hit and you're good.
But this comes back to that voyage of self-discovery that you talked about.
Yeah, definitely.
Just spending time with your own thoughts.
Yeah, 100%. And like I said, when you get out traveling, you're most, I guess, true self. So getting out there, you can really discover it all. And a lot of the noise can come from expectations of others and their idea of your identity as well. So you can get away from that. That's also noise. And then you can just be yourself. It's great. But I mean, in saying that, would love to share it with someone and people. And whenever there's a group trip, I jump at that chance. It's fantastic. But yeah, I wouldn't change a thing.
I'm beginning to wonder if this is a matchmaking exercise.
Yeah, if anyone's out there, which camera am I looking at? Let's get my good side.
That's right. Ladies, you love to travel.
Yeah, fantastic. Just put my number at the bottom. We're all good.
Great to spend some time with yourself. But, of course, when you are out in the wilderness, out in the outback by yourself, it brings perils as well. There must have been some scary moments along the way.
Yeah, there's a few times, and this is where the, preparation comes into it and the planning and everything. But there are some things that you can't necessarily plan for. Like I just left Broome and I was going across the Wolf Creek crater. I've never seen the movie. I hear it is quite scary, and I'm glad I didn't see the movie because it might have tainted my experience and my planning. But I got across the Wolf Creek and the idea was to head into the NT. I was doing this big sort of cutting across, going down to Adelaide and then coming back across. And I planned to get across the Tanami, get to the NT, and I'd sort of got my fuel, everything that I needed. And I got just out of Wolf Creek and I noticed that there was fire in the distance. And at this stage I was like, well, I need to be there. And so I'll check the fire. Like, this is preparation. You've got to check if you notice there is something that looks like a fire in the distance, always check DFES. Always check the websites if you have access to it. Luckily I did because I've got Starlink. So I jumped on there and there was a fire roaring across the Tanami. This is a good few years ago now, probably 2023, end of 2023. And there was this massive, hundreds of kilometres of fire, evacuating the mine in Tanami, all of that. It was that bad. And I made the decision. I was like, right, I can make this. The road looks open, there's no warnings that the road's closed. So I went, and I probably, knowing what I encountered, I probably wouldn't do that again. But the road was burning on the sides. I was driving through walls of flame to get there. And that was the scariest part. Probably lasted a good 20 minutes of this, because it's just so dry and that fire moves fast. So if it wasn't a wide road, if it was a bit more sketchy, I'd have been in a bit of trouble, I'd say. So that's probably close to the scariest.
So how come you knew what to do then in that situation?
I think from the experience of doing it for so long. With experience comes knowledge, and you start to know what you're capable of and what to do if things go a bit pear-shaped. So I knew that the road was clear. There was no scrub in the middle of the road, so there was going to be no fire under the car or anything. So I made the decision just to keep going and get going.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Got some hairy moments along the way.
Yeah, a few times where I was keep my folks updated. And I was like, this is where I am if anything happens, But that's the thing. Always notify people as well. If you're going somewhere that's a bit off grid, which that is a lot off grid, then always let people know where you are. Check in, morning, night, all of that.
When you are in a tough situation like that, or when you've been on the road by yourself for too long, I mean, what keeps you going? You're a third of the way through your quest. What is making you press on at this point?
Sometimes it's like, if I get through this, I can have a beer at the end. That's fantastic.
That's always good encouragement.
That's great encouragement. But apart from that, it's probably telling the story of it, like letting people know, like learn from this because this can happen. So it's always good to experience that because you can pass that knowledge on to others and hopefully that'll get them out of trouble in the future if they do listen. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So it's the sharing again.
Yeah, and I had so many map markers afterwards that I was like, I got to get there. I got to check those things out. So.
All right. Well, let's talk a bit more about some of the towns that you visited.
Sure, yeah.
So if we were to name one WA town that you think most people would drive straight past but shouldn't, what comes to mind?
I'd probably say, like, I really liked Narrogin.
Narrogin,
yeah. It's got a really interesting history. And
yep.
I always love when I get to these small towns, like the first thing that I do is go to the tourist bureau. Because there's always a local there, like it's usually one of the older generation, like a retiree, and they love having a chat about the town. And they'll tell you stories, they'll tell you all the cool places. And I went in there and they've got this little, like full-size, well, not full-size, but they've got a little model replica of what the town originally looked like when it was a hub for rail.
Right.
And like kids love it because there's all the buttons you can push, all the trains move around, there's lights and flashing stuff. And the fella in there was telling me that, it was a massive hub back in the day for all the farmers and all the grain and all of that. Mm. And it was a massive place. And there's a lot of history there as well. Like, I think it's to the north somewhere now. I forget exactly where it is, but in the side of a big rock, and this is what I learned from him, he sent me sort of this way, there's an old smuggler's cabin. Now, this fella came all the way from Europe, I believe, England, stowed away on a boat, walked inland to north of Narrogin. I don't know if you've been to Narrogin, but it's like hundreds of K inland. So this guy just was so desperate. He found this massive rock that was so sheltered and he built his own cabin in there. And he used to ransack local areas and farms and he lived there. And there's actually the ruins are still there.
Smuggler's cabin in Narrogin.
Yeah, it's north of Narrogin, yeah.
Right.
Very interesting. So I guess, Narrogin is a fantastic piece of history and especially it's a good gateway to the other areas around.
Okay. So when you first roll into a town like Narrogin, you go to the tourist bureau.
Yeah.
And then what?
Bakery. 100%.
Bakery?
Yeah, you got to get a pie. That's the rules. I don't make the rules. I just live by them. Yep. And usually between those two, like if you get someone real chatty at a cafe, you'll find all the good areas. They'll let you know all the cool stuff to do, to see and experience as well. So that's where you get the context, is chatting to the locals. And you feel a bit more in the community then. Yeah. And you just feel a part of it. And you're sort of giving back and sort of exploring the area.
And how long do you tend to stay in each town?
It depends how good the bakery is.
Right, okay.
Generally, when I was doing FIFO, it was very quick. And I felt that I missed a lot of context there. So a bigger place like Narrogin, like it is a big place, it's probably a good few days worth.
Okay.
Like a good few days worth to go and see the surrounding areas and the little hidden gems that people recommend to you. Smaller places, depends what's around. If there's a lot of salt lakes and natural stuff that I love taking photos of, good few days, I'd say.
Okay.
So just slow down and enjoy it and just go where the flow takes you, I guess.
And I guess you're looking at it predominantly through a visual lens too. You're looking for what is it about the town that's going to look good.
Yeah, what's captivating, what sort of brings people
camera,
in. Yeah, and especially, I guess, learning about the history from the locals, from the tourist bureau, all of that, you start to get more context about the place, and it sort of unlocks new ways of looking at the town or the place as well. Mm-hmm. So that adds to the story, adds to the photos, and if there's a sort of really small subtext in a photo where you can explain that this is where this was, it goes from being just a burnt out shack to a smuggler's ruin, which is, I love it.
I guess you're thinking about walking in, going to the tourist bureau, go to the bakery. You're talking about the characters that you're meeting in these towns. I mean, what are some of the more memorable or quirky characters you've met along the way?
I guess the thing that makes folks most memorable in these towns is their passion for the community, like their just unbridled passion to the point of just being so out there about it. And there's a few people like that. Like they're not so much out there, but they're just so passionate that they'll do anything for the town. And there's a guy in Wongan Hills, which is one of my favourite places. His name's Rod Clark.
Okay.
Shout out to Rod, he's a great guy. He does a lot of the trails for the area. And he's a volunteer, and he just gets out there and sort of gets these trails going and does all the gets people to do the pamphlets and all of that. And he's just such a wealth of knowledge, and he's just trying to get people out there to see these places and experience it, especially through wildflower season as well.
Right.
And then there's a lady named Sheena down at Wave Rock, and she essentially is the visionary behind all of these things that they're putting in, like the resort, the little salt lake there where you can swim in and all of that. And yeah, she's just so passionate about the area, and because she's a local, like her mum's there, she's still throwing hay bales around, and God, I don't know how old she is, but she's got more energy than I do. And it's just these locals that have grown up there, they love the place, and they just want to make it better. And they're my favourites. Absolutely.
And they're people who are, as you say, are passionate, but they're passionate about community and being really
100%.
Connected to the area, which I think is something that those of us that live in cities often feel we're missing out on.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It's like cities, as much as like I love Perth, but living in a city for me, it doesn't resonate. Like I love to get out there and talk to folks and talk to a person on a bus here. They'll think you may be clinically insane.
Exactly.
A little bit. Yeah.
I
So
think you've been driving around in your troopy by yourself for too long.
Yeah, 100%. And especially when I first started getting out there, traveling in my little mum-mobile, folks would come up and just chat.
Right.
And my first response was like, what's wrong with this person? Like, are they going to like mug me or something? But they're just friendly. That's just how people should be. It's wild.
Yeah. What's wrong with this person?
Yeah, that was my first response, and it took a while. I was like, they're just nice.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's unexpected, sadly. All right, so number one, Narrogin. Let's see if we can put a top five together. What's in second place?
All right, I really liked, and I did this on the recent trip where I sort of went inland and around down to Esperance. I really liked a place called Dundas. Now, Dundas, no one's really ever heard of it, but it's just south of Norseman. And Dundas was one of the original settlements there, I believe, back in the gold mining days. And it's a large ghost town. Not many ruins and stuff left there, but there's a self-drive trail down from Norseman through to Dundas. And it takes a good hour and a half. And scattered all along the way, bits of history. So there's old machinery and things like that. There's old mine shafts and just amazing bits of history. And then you come into the ghost town, you can actually camp there. It's a little sort of free camp area. And then if you go a little further in, and it's on this, sort of on the banks of this massive sprawling salt lake, and you drive towards that, and there's one part of the tour that a lot of people miss, and there's a lone grave out there. And it's these little bits of history that Dundas is fascinating. Ghost towns, there's something about it. Yeah, and I think it's the stories that actually shaped WA.
How did you find out about the lone grave? How do you find out the stories of a ghost town?
It's a lot of sort of Googling, a lot of Wikipedia, a lot of nerd stuff, pretty much. A lot of reading. I wear glasses as well. I don't look as smart as you at the moment. I didn't bring them, but yeah, lots of research prior, and it's usually just scratching the itch of curiosity.
Right.
So I'll see a place on the map, and I'll be like, that looks like ruins there or something like that. And usually the Salt Lake draws me out there because I love Salt Lake photography. That's sort of how I started this whole thing. And then I just read more about it and it becomes more and more fascinating, because without that context, the area would be so boring. It would just be bushland and ruins, and you'd be like, not much here.
All right. So you do your research beforehand, but some of these places obviously are still packed with surprises. What's one town that has surprised you despite your preparation?
Do you know what? And this isn't a hidden gem per se, but Esperance. Right.
Esperance.
There's actually, and
that is surprising.
I am forgetting the name of this rock, even though I did research and have been there, but sort of towards the northeast. Now, a lot of people don't know that there's not just one wave rock in WA. There's three that I've found.
Right.
So there's Alec Budding in the north, and then I think it's Mount Ridley. Yeah, I think that sounds right. We'll fact check that later. But I found this. It's not on Google Maps. I was looking through other sources, and you can get AI to do a lot of research for you too. And come up with things. And
some of them are true.
yeah, and then I was looking through this bushland sort of off the beaten track from Esperance, and I was like, that looks like a wave rock because it's very distinct. Even from above, you can sort of see the shadows and all of that.
Right, okay.
And I went to this place, and I think it was a well-known tourist destination. Maybe it's well-known among locals, but I think back in the day it was probably more well-known amongst travellers. But it's sort of, a lot of places fall off the map almost. And I went out there and I camped up, didn't see a soul for like 3 days, right? And this is Mount Ridley, so you walk up the top, incredible view, amazing sunsets. But if you sort of duck around the side, there's a wave rock in the side of the mountain, and it is absolutely stunning. Yeah, and Esperance is full of places like that. Like you've got the whole stretch of Israelite Bay. If you follow probably the most corrugated road in the world, which nearly shook my troopy apart, but you follow that for maybe a good hour and a half, and then you get out to the Israelite Bay Telegraph Station, which was originally the link between the east and the west. They used a telegraph line, just this one line going all the way across. And then you go further past that. Like there's ruins there, there's a lot of history, beautiful beaches. Like there's a little place you can duck down south of there called Point Malcolm. So nice and quiet. Hopefully no one goes, it's terrible, don't go there. All right, everyone. But it's beautiful. Like there's shallow water. The first time I went there were dolphins playing in the shallows. Nice. I woke up to hearing dolphins. I was like, this is magical, right? Yeah. Then you push further on east and you can actually go to where the beach meets the Great Australian Bight. Right. You can actually camp there. And it's spectacular, like white beaches as long as you can see, and huge dunes and all of that. So Esperance is up there, like.
Right. So this is somewhere that people obviously feel they know quite well. It's a very popular spot, but you feel there are still surprises to be uncovered.
Yeah, like everyone goes out to Le Grand and all that sort of area and all those bays out there to pat the kangaroos and whatnot. But if you go a bit further, there's also Cape Arid, which is equally as beautiful. A bit more rugged though, a bit harder to get to.
Okay. So. Well, let's call that 3. Let's press on. Number 4.
No, number 4. Ooh, this is a bit of a tough one. I'd say Muck and Button, or Mucker, as the locals call it. Yeah, and it's not so much like the town is full of amazing locals, like a little cafe there and stuff like that, but it's more so the surrounding areas. There's a ghost town to the sort of southeast called Chandler, and that was originally, I think it was in the 1920s, it was a potash, I don't know if I said that correctly, but it was a potash mine, and there's an old town site there as well. So you can just walk around and see this old, like the architecture back then, even for a mine, was stunning. Like it's beautiful, and you can see the old ruins of where people lived, and it was quite a big town as well before it was sort of disbanded once the mine went kaput. But that's a good point near Mucker. And then also to the north, there's Butting Rock, which is another one of those wave rocks. And it's huge. Like you drive in and you can camp over the other side, but the wave rock part is right there. And there's a nice little sort of hike around there. So Mucker's definitely up there.
Okay, Mucker at number 4.
Yeah.
Out of the 650 odd towns that are on your map, how many of them are ghost towns?
I think there was something in the vicinity of 50 or 60.
Okay,
There's a lot around Kalgoorlie where all the mines were.
Sure. Yeah.
So a lot there, but they're also scattered all throughout. Like there's one in the southwest, and this is an interesting fact, and I want to get out there because I haven't found the exact spots. I haven't been there yet, but Whoop Whoop. Right. You know the old saying out Whoop Whoop? Yeah. That's 30 minutes from where I grew up.
Is it?
I had no idea. I was living out Whoop Whoop pretty much, and that was an old logging settlement back when there was all these tiny little places, and they had a cricket team, they had everything. Okay. So there's so many of them, and they're everywhere.
So you could do a separate tour just of all the ghost towns.
100%. Yeah, I want to spend a bit of time out sort of Kalgoorlie way, and I think it would take weeks and weeks to get to all of those places. Even I'd say the most remote ones, ghost towns that I've been, was when I did the Trans-Australian Railway. Now this was during COVID, so I couldn't get across the border to go east, but I got as far as Forest Airport. Now along there you've also got Xanthus and Rawlinna, which are 2 ghost towns. And you can it's like walking through history. Like they just up and left one day. You walk into the bank and there's still flyers from like the 60s, 70s that are just sitting on the ground.
Oh, I love that stuff.
I love it too. It's great. Yeah.
All right, we've got 4. What's number 5?
Number 5, not necessarily a town, but an area. I'd say a lot of people miss out on it, but the Ferguson Valley.
Right.
This is one of those things where you don't explore your backyard when you grow up somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Right near Donnybrook, and I'd never been there. I did a festival shoot for that Lost and Found festival, which was going on through there.
Yep.
And the drive in, I was like, this is spectacular. A lot of sort of rolling hills, beautiful deep forest. That's where Gnomesville is. And beautiful wineries, and just so much. Like, I haven't deeply explored the area, but I know that I'm going to get back in there and see it. It just looks amazing.
Okay. Yeah. It'd be nice to spend more time there.
100%.
All right, let's break down some basic, simple pleasures from your trip. Best meal you've had in a small WA town?
Now, that is a tough one, because every time I go to a pub, that's usually the place to get a meal is a pub.
Mm-hmm.
I always panic and get a palmy. But the country palmies are the best. And not to continually toot Donnybrook's horn, but they do a Mexican palmy at the Donnybrook pub.
Okay.
So good.
All right.
So good. So that's probably, I'm being very biased towards Donnybrook at the moment, but that would be it.
Okay. Well, your loyalty is totally
understandable. And that basically fueled the troopy design and building. It was just built on palmies.
Is that right?
Pies. Probably, yeah. Yeah, I'd say so.
All right. Now, you've put Donnybrook forward as the best bakery, so we'll put that to one side. Mm-hmm. Donnybrook aside, best bakery?
Oh, now I think in Narrogin, there's a bakery there. I forget the name of it. There are a few there.
Okay.
That was up there. That was.
What was it that stood out at this bakery?
There's certain things, and I'll probably start a series on pies, because I've got like a little rating system in my head, right?
The pie scale.
Oh yeah, the pie. Yeah, it's the I don't know what you'd even call it, but pie scale is pretty good.
Okay.
We'll spitball that after. We'll start a show or something.
Workshop.
Full podcast on pies. People would be into that. It can't be too flaky, because you don't want to be like vacuuming yourself off after eating.
Okay,
right?
practical.
It's got to be crisp on the outside, but not too hot on the inside. A lot of the time, bite into a pie when I'm driving, drips down, 3rd-degree burns.
All right, take the roof of your mouth off.
You don't want that, right? Can't be too much, like, I guess, sauce to the meat ratio.
Okay.
Has to be spot on. I sound like a lunatic right
You've
now.
spent a lot of time thinking about this.
I've eaten a lot of pies.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, just the temperature, the ratio of meat to the gravy, I guess it is, and the flakeability. That's a word now.
So you think Narrogin, best pie?
I think it's up there, yeah. Okay. I'll continue looking though.
Okay.
I'll let you know.
Do you go the vanilla slice as well? Or?
No, this is going to be controversial. I can't stand vanilla slice. Can't stand it. Carrot cake.
Carrot cake?
Oh, yeah.
Is that as easy to find in a country bakery?
Yeah.
Oh,
country folks love their carrot cake. I'll probably be cancelled for this, but carrot cake is the go-to.
Okay.
For sure.
Well, actually, I'm with you. I prefer a carrot cake. It's just...
Vanilla slice overrated. Who wants it?
There's controversy. We don't normally get such controversial opinions.
I'm not afraid to get controversial on these podcasts, and vanilla slice is overrated.
Tackling the big issues.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I feel that you've answered this bit already, but I was going to say, how much do the memories of the food that you've encountered at these places affect your overall judgment of a small town?
Nah, not at all. I don't think. I think it's just the meal at the end and the sustenance. Like, it's just the icing on the cake. It's always about the locals, the surrounding things in the area, what's there to see and do, and the history as well. Like, when I'm on the road, I just keep it simple. I just eat the same meal day in, day out, and I just love the exploration. I'm not a foodie by any stretch. I've talked about pies for a third of this.
We did talk about pies a fair bit.
So I'm not a foodie.
Right. All right. So you could have a great pie in a small town.
I'm happy.
And it's not going to affect the rating.
100%. Okay. That's fine.
All right. Okay. No, good to know. Now, if someone wanted to attempt something similar to your quest but didn't have 6 or 7 years to dedicate themselves to it, what's a smaller road trip you'd send them on if they wanted to tick off a few small things?
I would say this is a bit of a tough one. I'd probably start with Ferguson Valley. It's a hop, skip and jump. Like, if you had a long weekend, start in the Ferguson. It's not too far from Perth. You're looking at, an hour and a half, something like that, to get to the Ferguson. Sort of get there, enjoy the food, the wine. Not if you're driving, though. Okay. But enjoy the area. Go see Gnomesville. The kids love it if you got kids. And then sort of venture, maybe... You don't have to go through Donnybrook, but just get down through like Nannup, Dardanup, like all those little small towns through there, and just don't even go with a plan. Just go, I want to go see this town. This is where we're going to stay. We're just going to venture into the southwest, because the southwest, to a lot of folks, like if you say, oh, you've never been out there, go to the Golden Outback. Like, I love the Golden Outback, but like go to Kalgoorlie, like drive across there. People are going to be like, whoa, like calm down. That's very far and I'm scared.
The major commitment.
Yeah, dip the toe in the water and just go somewhere, or even inland, like York is fantastic if you want to get in that way and you want to go up into the Golden Outback. Wongan Hills is fantastic, especially through wildflower season. Lovely. You can do that whole sort of, there's a trail, like the wildflower trail. Yeah, that's goes through Wongan and then up and around. That's amazing. So if that's what you want to do, you'll see some amazing small towns, meet some great people, eat some great pies. Everyone's happy.
All right. So it's possible to take small steps out.
Sure, yeah. Just dip your toe in the water. Even if you're just looking at a map, just go through Google Maps, have a scroll around and just go, well, that looks interesting. Do a bit of reading, whatever. And yeah, just pick a place and go. Like, that's the hardest part, is you sort of, the more you think about it, the more you're going to talk yourself out of it and go, I'll just go.
Sure.
Same places as usual, but just get out there. You never know what you can find.
You said when you started that perhaps you could have prepared more, made some mistakes along the way. What's some advice you would give to someone who wanted to avoid some of those mistakes?
Don't think you're just going to be like hot out on the trails straight away. Like, don't just send it, like the accelerator is not going to get you out of the sand. And the more you push in, the more you dig. It doesn't have to be expensive equipment. If you're just a weekend warrior, just get down to King's or something and get some recovery equipment. Just put it in a little first aid kit. You never know what's going to happen. Just a little bit of preparation. Doesn't have to be big stuff or the crazy latest gear, but just be prepared, know where you're going, and if there is beach driving, then just be prepared to let your tyres down and know where you're going to put air back into them, because you don't want to be driving with 20 psi on your tyres on a highway. So, yeah.
Okay, some basic,
just
a bit of basic preparation.
Just have a think about it, and don't just go out there and just send it. Pretty much. Yeah. Like, it's just a little bit of thought. Don't have to go too crazy, but it'll get you out of. It'll save you a lot of time, pretty much.
Now, if people want to follow your journey, Aaron, if they want to follow Lands Unseen, where can they find you?
So Instagram is the main sort of area where I started, where I've been growing. I'm a little bit on TikTok. I'm started going into...
I saw you were on TikTok.
Fantastic. I just talk a bunch of rubbish. And people love it.
This is the full-on influencer.
Yeah, so that's the Aussie slang and sayings.
Isn't it? Yeah.
That was the first video. I heard it and I was like, that's so good. I got to let people know about this. Didn't take it seriously at all. People ate it up. Yeah. And I don't know if you saw my latest video. I fell off play equipment. People loved it.
I've tried that myself in Donnybrook, actually.
Yeah.
It goes down well. I did see your video on Aussie slang.
Yeah.
Who's enjoying that? Are they fellow Australians or are they people
Me.
from overseas? And
you?
Sure, I can see that you're clearly enjoying it.
I'm tickled
but
pink.
In terms of your audience, it's obviously connected with people. Who is it connecting with?
I think a lot of people that maybe yearn for that Aussie culture, with the influx of American culture and media and all of that.
Right. A lot of those sayings have disappeared.
Yeah, we're losing our background, we're losing our sayings, we're losing our genuine sort of Aussie, Crocodile Dundee look. When someone thinks about an Australian now, they think about surfer. That's pretty much it. But back in the day, it's like, does he have a knife? What's going on? But so we're sort of losing that history, and that's one thing that I'd love to help preserve. To do whatever format it takes, whether it's YouTube, something like that. Just go to an area and just get into the history. I'd say Whoop Whoop would be my first.
Okay, so digging into the history of places like Whoop Whoop, that Australian history, but also that sense of identity that you see us as losing.
Yeah, 100%. A lot of the sayings that, I'll say things and people are like, are you having a stroke? I'm like, that's actually a saying.
Right. You're bringing them back.
Bringing them back, yeah, kicking and screaming.
What's one bit of slang you'd like to see re-enter the lexicon?
Oh, as happy as Larry. I love that one.
It's a good one. I remember that.
There's a story behind it. But
what's the story?
There was a prize fighter over in Sydney. This is back in, I'm not going to get the specifics all wrong, so I'm going to horribly tell this story terribly. But essentially, he was a prize fighter and he won a bout, and he won something like £2. And the papers reported as happy as Larry.
Wow.
Because he won all this money, £2.
That was it. That was a really common saying. Has that died out, has it?
So I don't hear many people saying it.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
One more.
Oh, you put me on the spot here. Ooh.
I saw one in your video, and it was one that I had not heard before.
There's one I probably can't say on air.
Something about eaves.
Yeah. Well, there was one, and this is, I've never heard this out of this country town, and I'll say the PG version. But I hope your chooks turn into emus and kick your dunny down. Who says that?
Okay, I haven't heard that one.
Very elaborate.
Yeah, right? What does this mean?
Okay, because back in the day they had outhouses, right?
Yeah.
And they were very flimsy. So obviously, if you hated someone enough, you'd come up with this really crazy insult that I hope your chickens who are around the outhouse turn into emus and kick your outhouse down.
Interesting.
Crazy.
Okay, so it's an insult.
Well, I heard someone say it in a country town. I was like, "Are you okay?
Okay.
Like, what does that mean?" And so I thought about that for days. Stayed with me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, should you ever finish your tour of the WA small towns, all 650 odd of them, where do you see yourself travelling next?
Oh, that's such a tough one. I'm so bad at setting long-term goals. I generally let things unfold because I might not be the same person whenever that finishes in 5-10 years, because that's a long, big thing. There's a lot out there in the rest of Australia. I'd love to properly do the lap that I started that was so rushed, because I sort of touched upon little areas and was just getting into it, and then I'd have to go back to work. And so I'd lost a lot of context, and I'd love to just go stay in an area like a base for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, months, whatever. Explore the areas, hear the stories, talk about it, tell people, move on. An idea that my mum hates is to buy a boat, learn how to sail, get a catamaran or a yacht, go see the world.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, it's a big place. Like, I think if I was born a couple of 100 years earlier, I'd be an explorer. I'm too young or too early to explore space, so I've just got to explore for my own sort of gain.
Okay.
Yeah.
So keep exploring.
Yeah, pretty much.
Now, Aaron, at the start, you talked about getting out on the road as being this journey of self-discovery. And I know we talked a bit there about how you've dug down into Australian identity and perhaps learned some things about all of us that we've lost. But what's one thing that you feel you've learned about yourself on your travels that you didn't know before?
That oftentimes the only person that's going to save me is me. Right. And I think that filters down into the rest of life as well, like mentally and even just doing work. Like, you're the only one that can do it. No one's going to swoop in and save you. And especially when you're out there stuck on a beach for hours, like, you sort of realize what you're made of. And sometimes that surprises you. Like, I didn't think that I was capable of getting out to the middle of nowhere and spending all this time under the stars by myself, hundreds of kilometers away from people. But here I am, doing it. And I wouldn't have dreamt of this 20 years ago. So, yeah, I think that's the big thing I've learned, is that, and everyone should realize it, is that we're capable of anything. Like, you can learn anything online now. There's infinite resources. You've got AI to give you course plans, all of that. That could tell you how to forward drive and give you the pointers. So I think if you want to do it, don't be scared. Just go out, start, and just try. Don't be afraid to be, and that's one thing that I did learn, is don't be afraid to look like an idiot. I do it all the time, and it works out pretty well. So, yeah, I guess I learnt my strengths.
Aaron Green, thank you very much.
Pleasure. Thanks, Myke.
Thank you for tuning in. If you liked this episode, let us know and share it with a friend. Don't forget to hit subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next episode of RAC's Horizons podcast.